Hi everyone. Now we will start another topic, inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry. So this is a series of atomic spectroscopy, and generally in atomic spectroscopy we can analyze the elements present in several types of samples. So here I will let you know about how this ICP-MS can be used for analysis of several chemical substance from like environmental, biological, food samples or from other source. And here we will see. So far we have in the previous class we have seen flame photometry, atomic absorption spectroscopy and ICP-AES. And here we will also know what is the difference between ICP-AES with ICP-MS, and where we will use this ICP-MS, and so finally we will also see the different application of like flame photometry, where we will use flame photometry, where we have to use atomic absorption spectroscopy, and where we will have to use ICP-AES technique. And in this class I will also let you know about the principle of ICP-MS, instrumentation, and application of this spectrometry. So before to know what is a ICP-MS, so in the previous class we had seen the principle of a ICP-AES, or that is also called ICP-OES, optical emission spectroscopy. So ICP is related to the radiation source, and in atomic spectroscopy the radiation source is very important to atomize the element that present in a unknown sample. Okay, and this is a ICP. This this unit is called ICP, inductively coupled plasma. And like in flame photometry we have seen, flame is used as a atomization, ionization of element that present in the sample. But here the plasma will be used as a source for we can say volatilization, drying, atomization of a element present in the sample. So here that in the previous class we have seen what is a plasma. So plasma is a mixture of a ionized element, electrons, neutral molecules. So these are the component of a plasma. And here how that plasma is formed. Generally the neutral gas like argon is passed through the highly magnetic field, where the high radio frequency wave is applied on that highly magnetic field where the argon gas passes. And when this argon gas passes through this RF, there is a ionization of your argon gas, and that argon gas will ionized as AR, as neutral atom, or that may be AR plus, and also electron, and also there will be a neutrons. So there are several chemical species present in a plasma that causes the temperature of that plasma to 5000 centigrade. So here we can see there is a 2 to 3 times more temperature than flame photometry, or we can say atomic absorption spectrometry. And then that when the element, suppose element, if you are going to analyze copper, like a copper or nickel, zinc, this type of element, if you are going to analyze, so that element will excite with the help of that plasma, and when that element comes from excited state to ground state, it will emit a specific wavelength of light. So for a different element, that will produce different wavelength of characteristics wavelength of light, and that is a pass through the monochromator, and then we have a detector, and this is a ICP. ICP AES is a multi-element technique. At a time we can determine several elements that present in the sample. So that is a advantage over a atomic absorption spectroscopy. So here we can see that after the emission of several wavelengths of light from the monochromator, there is emission of several wavelength of light from a different element present. So like copper will produce a particular wavelength of light, zinc will produce a particular wavelength of, so their wavelength of light is different for the different element, and that will have a different detector for a measurement of these elements present in the sample. So this is about a ICP AES, and in next slide we will see how this ICP AES is different from a ICP MS. So before here we will see so as we know, atomic spectroscopy can be used for a different elements that present in a periodic table, and how this technique, so we have already studied flame AES and furnace AES. So these are the range or measurement range for determination of a element that present in a sample, and so this is very important because the presence of element in a different sample is a different. Like if we want to know the concentration of element in a drinking water, that what we are drinking, or like in a tap water, so the presence of element like copper, nickel, zinc, so these element present in a ppb level. ppb level means that may be present in microgram per liter. Okay, microgram per liter. So very minute amount of concentration of element is present. Then that time we should know what instrument, whether we have to use flame AES or graphite furnace or ICP AES or a ICP MS. Another thing, if you want to determine, like there are some elements like maybe silver may be maybe drinking water, that may be present in a nanogram or femtogram. Okay, so then that time what instrument we have to use? Okay, so the presence of different element in a drinking water, food sample or milk sample, or maybe in your hair, so the concentration is different, and that time the selection of instrument, atomic spectroscopy is very important. Which instrument when we will select for that one? If you will not select a proper instrument for a measurement, so there is a wastage of your time and also wastage of money. Okay, so if in any sample the concentration range is a 1 to 1000 ppm, okay, then that time we will use a flame AES. Okay, so this, suppose if you want to determine iron, copper, nickel in a soil, then that time this instrument is very useful, because in soil samples or our food samples, the concentration of like iron in food sample is in a ppm level. But if you want to determine like a copper or chromium in a milk sample, then that it is present in a microgram level, then that time we have to use a furnace atomic absorption spectroscopy, and the concentration range is from 1 ppm to like 1 ppt. Okay, so that is maybe nano level concentration, but generally we can that furnace like graphite furnace is used for determination of elements that present in a microgram level or a ppb level. Okay, so similarly the range for ICP AES is the same as a graphite furnace. Okay, but the advantage of this ICP AES is a multi-element technique. Okay, multi-element technique. At a time we can analyze several elements from the sample, but that a graphite furnace or flame AES is a single element technique, so it will take long time for analysis of a sample. Then what about the ICP MS? So ICP MS, if you hyphenate or combine the mass spectrometry with a other spectroscopic technique, the sensitivity will increase many folds for a determination of a element from the sample. So here we can see if the element in a femtogram may be like a 10 to the power minus 12 gram. Okay, 10 to the power minus 12 gram of any element that present in sample. So that level we can determine the element from the sample. So this is a utility or advantage of a ICP MS. Now you will see the process or what are the different steps that occur during the so first we suck the sample, then there is a volatilization, drying. So here suppose that any unknown element, so any unknown element, that elements from the periodic table. So there are some elements that cannot be analyzed with this technique. Okay, so first the sample is nebulized, and we know the nebulization is a mixing of a fuel, oxidant and a sample. Okay, it forms the aerosol or spray, and then that ICP provide the heating process. So there is a dissolution and volatilization of liquid that present in the sample. So in this instrument, the way of introduction of the sample is in the liquid form. Okay, after the volatilization, so in the sample your element may be present in a ionic form. Okay, ionic form. Like if you want to determine copper from any food material, blood sample, or a drinking water or soil sample. So all the elements that may be present in a like copper 2 plus and sulfate 2 minus. Like if you are determining a calcium, so that will be present in a calcium carbonate. Zinc, maybe it may be present will be zinc chloride. Okay, so the element will present in the ionic form. Okay, so here in ICP there is a 5000 centigrade, okay, temperature. So that will cause, okay, that atomization. So maybe that copper 2 plus will change into copper, or sodium plus will change into sodium, calcium 2 plus will change into the calcium. Okay, or it will be also in a molecular form, it will convert it to the molecular form, but in the gaseous form, or there is also formation of ions. Okay, ions or a ionization of element. Maybe that your that C, after C, like copper 2 plus first get atomization copper, then again it will get ionization. Maybe again means C, copper excited atom, and it will release the electron. So here we can also see this process. Suppose your sample in a hydrate form or some complex form, then you have a volatilization, atomization, then we have a atomization. So there are two processes. Okay, either your atoms in the gaseous state or some of the atoms is in the excited state. And in a ICP AES, this excited element, okay, emit a particular wavelength of radiation, that is measured in a ICP AES. But in mass spectrometry we will measure. So in mass spectrometry there is one condition, okay. So in the all the spectroscopic technique there should be some condition, okay. So in mass spectrometry the elements should be ionized, okay, ionized. So like M will get M plus, okay, M plus. So it is in the form of cations, okay, cationic form. And because in mass spectrometry only those elements will travel through the mass analyzer, because in mass spectrometry mass analyzer is a very important component, okay, where the M plus is a travels through mass by charge, okay, and with that basis the detection is done in a mass spectrometry. So this is a, we can say, principle or process in ICP as well as in a mass spectrometry. So here we will see how the mechanism, okay, for detection of any the ionized element in a mass spectrometry. So first we will see that generally first we are ionizing our element. So that the ICP torch, okay, first it ionize the element to M plus. Okay, so here we can see, suppose we have our element in the form of M. M is related to the metal, okay, metal, and this instrument is good for a, okay. So first we will introduce, okay. So now from the ICP, the elements are in the form of a gaseous, okay, gaseous element. So like copper will copper is in the form of a gaseous form, okay. So it is a gaseous atom, okay, gaseous atom. So when the gaseous atom introduced into the mass spectrometer, okay. So in the mass spectrometer there is a electron beam, okay. So electron beam will hit the element, okay, hit the element, and the core electron from the element will evacuated out, okay. Now there is a formation of M plus. So like copper will become copper 2 plus, sodium will become sodium plus, and calcium will become calcium 2 plus, okay. Now this ionized element, या cation, okay, passes through the analyzer. So in mass spectrometry there are different types of mass analyzer, like ion trap, quadrupole ion trap, and time of flight, and depending upon the use that MS is detected with this mass analyzer, and this mass analyzer is consists of a highly magnetic field. So here we can see your element that is ionized in a ion source will reach through the detector, and it follows the curvature path, and the different element will follow the value of R is different, because their movement, because their like a deflection, you can say a curvature path that follow by the element, ionized element in mass spectrometry is different. So the R value is different for the different element. So finally we have a different R values, and based on that one we can detect the molecular weight of element that present in the sample, okay. So the different element have different atomic number. So here the M by Z is depending upon their atomic mass. So sodium will give the peak at 11. Okay. So based on that one, we can detect the identity of the element present in the sample. So this is about the mechanism. Okay, mechanism for detection of the ionized element in a mass spectrometry. So here we can see the instrumentation of a mass ICP MS. So ICP MS is a hyphenated technique or a combined technique. Okay, so we have a ICP part, another one we have a mass spectrometer. So here compared to ICP AES, when you attach the mass spectrometer, the sensitivity, the concentration limit for detection of the element from the sample will increase. So here we have a sample and we have a nebulizer, and this is a ICP torch. So when the sample, fuel and oxidant mix at a nebulizer, so it will form the aerosol, and the plasma torch or ICP torch will provide the thermal energy, okay, to volatilize and for drying and atomization. And after the atomization, the element pass through the ion source. So this is called ion source. So what is the use of ion source? It will ionize the gaseous element that is coming from the ICP unit will get atomized. Okay, atomized. Then the atomized element will pass through this is a quadrupole mass analyzer, and quadrupole mass analyzer is a 4 metallic rods that are present parallelly, okay, over the ionized element passes, and this passage or the separation of these ions is based on a mass by charge ratio. Okay, and so here in the quadrupole analyzer, there we applied a particular radio frequency or applied voltage to the element, because when in the sample, okay, in drinking water or food sample, all the elements are present. Okay, almost all the maximum elements present in the sample. So when your sample pass through the ICP torch, okay, all the element will get atomized. Okay, when all the element, the gaseous element will pass over the ion source, again all the element will get ionized. Okay, but in the quadrupole, only those particular element that you are going to analyze, like if you want to analyze copper from the sample, only the copper will pass through that quadrupole this mass analyzer. Okay, if you are going to analyze the selectivity analysis, but if you want to analyze all the element, because this is a multi-element technique, and if you are going to analyze all the element, like maybe if you are going to analyze like copper, nickel, zinc, sodium, potassium, calcium, all the element from your sample, then all the element will get ionized, and all the ionized element will travel through this quadrupole analyzer, and their traveling is depend upon the mass by charge ratio. Maybe lighter element will go first to the detector, followed by the other molecular mass element. Okay, so in this way we can detect the several elements that present in a unknown sample. So this is a periodic table where we can see the elements. Okay, so like we cannot determine hydrogen or this gaseous element or this carbon nitrogen, this gaseous element or carbon so we cannot eliminate this in a mass spectrometry. Then almost element from the periodic table can be analyzed using a ICP-MS. And these are the sensitivity or a detection limit. So suppose this light blue. So the concentration range is in the nanogram, okay, nanogram per liter, okay, and so like this light green. So light green is related to the sulfur. So we can determine 1 to 10 microgram of sulfur that present from a sample. So this periodic table we can apply when we want to use the ICP-MS for a elemental measurement. So this slide showing the different application of a ICP-MS. So like we can analyze this technique for a determination of a different element, okay, from a drinking water, because in drinking water the concentration of a element is very low concentration, maybe in a microgram, or we can also analyze contamination like trace element like arsenic, mercury, lead, cadmium. These are very toxic element, and we should aware of that what we drinking or what we are eating should be clean, and we can analyze this technique for determination of a toxic element from the sample, okay. Or we can also use this technique for a determination of a like toxic element in a like fish, meat, okay. So there we can determine whether the concentration of element is a less than or a higher than the tolerance limit. So we can apply this technique for a clinical sample, environmental sample, food sample, or from a air dust particle we can also analyze, or we can analyze this technique where there is a presence of a element in a sample. So here we will see, okay. So finally, in the previous class, I have been told about atomic absorption spectrometry, flame photometry, and now ICP-AES and ICP-MS. So generally, like flame photometer. So we will start with a flame photometer. So flame photometer is useful for a determination of a light element like sodium, potassium, calcium, okay, and strontium, which can be atomized in a lower temperature around 1000 centigrade, okay. And then next one is a atomic. So what is the disadvantage of this flame spectrophotometry? We cannot determine all the elements that present in the samples, okay. Then we will go for a atomic absorption spectroscopy, and this is also good technique, but this is a single element technique, okay, single element technique, and also it require more amount of sample for a determination, okay, determination of element from the sample, and also we need a specific hollow cathode lamp for a different element measurement. Then we have here we will finally ICP-AES and ICP-MS. So this unit ICP is a common unit in a ICP-AES and a ICP-MS. Here in ICP-AES, the element, okay, that get excited at a plasma emit a particular wavelength of a characteristics wavelength of element light for a different element, okay, and that is a way for a measurement of a different element in ICP-AES. But in mass spectrometry, again here the element is atomized, and that atomized element pass through the mass, and in the ion source it get ionized, then passes through the mass analyzer, okay, for detection of element in ICP MS. So this is about ICP MS for determination of different elements from different samples. Thank you very much.